All right. Everybody ready for Thanksgiving? No? Any big plans? Turkeys, hams? Tearing up some tamales, something? Anybody? Nothing?
Turkeys and tamales.
All right. Yeah, should be good. Just want to talk a little bit today about priorities. So we all of us face the same issues in life when it's talking about our life goals, things we want to work on, and where we're going to be from now. So everybody here's probably for sure under the age of 24. So think of yourself 10 years from now. And I know that's kind of hard, but if you think about it, where do you want to be 10 years from now? And that's kind of, you set the roadmap to get there today. So for me, I turned 51 last year, so I got to start thinking about if I ever want to retire, right? So when you really want to think about it, that is when you're your age. By the time you get my age, you start thinking about it, it's usually a little bit too late because you can't really set yourself up to get to the place you want to be because you're too far away in the game. Same thing happens in all of our areas of life. And so today I just want to take some time hanging out with you and talking about these things called priorities. So priority is something that you set that's very important, one of the most important things you're working on. So what are some priorities you might have in your life right now? Anyone? What's that? Sleep? So yeah, sleep's one. So that would be self-care. That's a good one. It's very important. I mean, that's a key thing. And just like it might be exercise, or it might be taking care of yourself, getting enough water. If you have a health issue, some people are diabetic. You know, those are real important issues. Sleep's a huge one as far as, you know, making sure that you're okay. What is another one? School. School's huge if that's what you're into. So if you have a life goal that has an education requirement, then you got to think about school. Some of you may not want to go to school, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some of you may want to go to a very specific school. I have a buddy who is my age, and we grew up together, and he decided he wanted to work on air conditioners. So he went off to this school in the desert and worked on air conditioning and cooling units. He got this great job at the train yard. Now he lives in Atlanta and runs an air conditioning company where he just goes and fixes bar refrigerators and freezers and stuff like that. But he didn't go to a four-year college or anything like that. He went to this thing called UCI out in the desert and learned how to work on air conditioners. And now he has his own business and is doing great. That's getting a little too loud. We have a toy for him or something? Oh, I'm sorry. It's just going to get picked up in here. So priorities, another good one here, family. Some of you may have a family you're launching. Some of you may want a family. So if you want a family, you got to think about that because there's a lot of weird ways you can make a family. There's a couple ways to do it right, and there's a lot of ways to do it wrong. And you don't want to have a crazy jacked up family. You want to have a great family. So thinking about those priorities are huge. And that means that you start automatically chucking bad people off the bus, right? You don't have time for that if you're trying to set yourself up to have a good family later on. What are some other good priorities? Or any priorities? Sleep, we got education. What else? Finances, huge. And then those, you know, the crazy thing about finances and each one of these priorities, they kind of set up other things in your life to help out with it or not. So, for example, if you wanted to make enough money in Kern County, you can get by with next to nothing because everything here is very affordable. If you're living somewhere else, the $900 stipend wouldn't cut it, and it just wouldn't. In Bakersfield, you can get by. People can live here on welfare their whole life. And you can't do that in a lot of other parts of the state because rent's, you know, crazy. So there's people up in the Bay Area paying $3,000 for a one-bedroom apartment. So it's kind of nuts in that regard, but finances shape all your other priorities. So if you say, hey, I want to own a house, I want to own a car, and I want to be able to go on vacation a couple times a year. Well, then you have to start thinking about what that's going to look like. Okay, so if you want to have a house, now you think about where do I want to live? Do you want to live next to drug dealers and people that are doing shady stuff all the time, or do you want to get in a decent neighborhood? So if you want to get in a decent neighborhood, how much is that going to cost? And let's just say that the average home price that you could get into in Bakersfield is $1,000 a month. Okay, and you're going to need to buy that. So that house is going to be about $120,000. That's your dream house, $150,000. Let's just even put it out there. Well, you're going to have some down payment for that, so it's about 15 grand. Right? So now you've got to start saving up for that. So how are you going to get a job to save up to have your finances secure so you can have this priority of getting a house locked down. So now you have to start thinking about, okay, now if that's my priority, how am I going to go make that money? We all know, just like with families, you can choose to go make money in a healthy, decent way, or you could go make money in an unhealthy way. There's a lot of people that are doing things to make money that are probably not lining up with all their other priorities, but they're putting that the highest on the list. So they may be doing something illegal. They may be doing something with their person that doesn't make them feel good about themselves, but they're chasing the money. Well, all that's really doing is increasing this little priority over here, but it's killing about 10 of them. Where if you were working at it a different way and said, okay, you know what, I don't really like school, but I'm gonna go do it, because if I get this little degree, I can get this teaching aid job, and then from there I can get enough money, do this, I'll have benefits. So it starts checking off all sorts of these little boxes. It's a lot harder to do that work for 2 years or 3 years or whatever it takes for you to get that. But once you get that in motion, then everything just starts rolling. And that's the thing about priorities. They set you up for failure or success. So when we look at what we usually do, and this myself included, the number one thing is that we usually go with the easy things first. So you wake up every day and you go with easy, right? So if your friend calls you and says, hey man, let's go, I want to go hang out here, this new place open, we're going to go here tonight, and you can say, well, I really need to do this, this, and this. I want to sleep, but you don't sleep because you go out, and then you're killing your own priority of even that one little simple one of sleep. Or when you spend money instead of invest money, right? So the easy thing is just to spend money. How many eat out 2 or 3 times a week? Fast food. So that's easy peasy. You just walk in, tell the person what you want, and you eat. Okay? Probably not the best food for you, but it's quick, it's easy. It's harder to go shopping, cook your own food at home, learn how to make your own stuff, and do that. It's going to save you money, probably better for you, but it's not easy. Parenting is a huge one, easy, right? How many of you guys have kids? All right, you got kids. Everybody knows that gadgets keep kids entertained, right? But it's not the best thing for kids. But it's a lot harder as a parent if she's my kid. You're a big kid. But if she's a tiny little kid and I go, hey, here, does that make you feel better? And she goes, Mickey Mouse or whatever's on there, and they're just all cool with it. And you could leave her alone for 2 days. They're all working the camera, right? But now you want to take it away. Oh my gosh, forget about it, right? Because now you've created this little monster that has to have a gadget in their hands. It's much harder as a parent to deal with the pain of teaching them the right thing to do. No, we only get 10 minutes at a time, and I'm taking this back, and now you go play outside or go, lick rocks, whatever you're going to do as a little kid, but you don't get a gadget anymore. Go play with dolls or balls or something. Just go hang out, go color. But you're not giving them electronics. The pain of you going through that is very real, because you're basically saying, no, you can't have that. But we do the same thing as adults. So those same priorities the same way. Some people in THP deal with sobriety. They come out of either substance stuff or alcohol or cigarettes or things that they want to get away from. But when you go to, it's just like that little kid. You've got that same priority. Now you're going, no, I want to be sober. I want to be right. I don't want anything going on wrong in my life. So I'm going to say no to this group of friends that I know that's going to go over here. Well, that's going to be painful, because you're going to have to deal with that, just like the little kid. You're going to have to deal with the crying. You're going to have to deal with all this. You're going to have to deal with the guilt. You're going to have to deal with your friends calling you names, being stupid. Were you trying to get your life or something? All the games that people play at your age. You have to deal with all that. But 10 years from now, what's your life going to look like if you stick to your plan on your priorities? See, I'm not here telling you what to do, but I am saying there is a plan to do it. Successful people, if you go talk to them, and I'm not talking about millionaires, I'm talking about happy people, happy where they're at. They've set their life priorities, and they don't care what everybody else says about it. They're chasing those goals. And if you chase those and go after it, then 10 years from now, you'll be in a different place. A lot of them will still be right here. And I'm not saying anything about your friends. I'm saying about you. I'm concerned about you and bringing this up for you so you can get there. I go through the same thing. Number 2, do fun things first. It's so easy to go do fun stuff, right? I just last year was taking some more college classes to work on this master's just for fun. I don't need to get a degree or anything, but I was just working on some classes. And it's so easy for one of my buddies to call up and say, hey man, I'm going on a ride. You want to go ride with me today? I'm like, Yeah, because that's easy. Riding a bike, no problem. It's more difficult to say, nah, I got to stay here. I really need to read. I've got to, that's not fun. But it was something I was working on. It was a priority to me, so I did it. But we all go through the same thing. Watching TV when you could be doing it. Or even with kids. It's so easy to put a kid somewhere and just leave them. Parents need to play with their kids. I mean, you need to hang out with them. You need to teach them things. You need to show them things. But that's not fun like could be hanging out with someone. Right? And the next one is, social media is huge on the fun piece too. Whether it's Snapchat or, whatever you're looking at. I've got some folks that work around here and they think that like the next thing I need to see is another world star hip hop video. I'm like, man, I'm not trying to watch guys jump motorcycles, or people with their hair on fire or whatever, all this stupid stuff floating around. But it's like people just live in that. Or Snapchat. I mean, I don't know what you guys are into, but people live in this little moment. And that's just distracting. 10 years from now, you're not going to go, man, my life's set straight because I was on Snapchat so much. It's just not going to happen. But if you deal with those fun things and put them to the side for a minute, then you can get to some of the other things. The urgent ones, to me, are the ones that are the craziest. And that's where we just feel like we got to deal with something because it's urgent. Now, typically, for us, every day we wear clothing, right? That becomes an urgent issue. Why does clothing become an urgent issue? Because you didn't do the laundry, right? So there's nothing to wear. So now it's like, oh man, I've got to do laundry. Well, you didn't have to do laundry all in one day, or you couldn't, wearing something looking janky because you didn't do your laundry. Laundry was always there. It's not a surprise attack. You just do a little bit at a time, or cleaning up, or shopping, or cleaning out your fridge, or that cup that's been sitting there that has mold growing in it. Now it's an emergency, but it wasn't then. So if you can deal with the urgent, that's huge. So right now, a good example of dealing with the urgent is the California fires, right? So there's laws in California that talk about how much clearance you're supposed to have around a building. There's laws in California that talk about, what goes on out in the forest and how we should take care of things. Well, you know what? The Earth's been around forever, and we've had forest fires for a long time. We move into the forest, and then we stop forest fires, so then the brush grows up, and then people don't clear the brush, and then all of a sudden there's fires, and their houses get tore up, and I feel awful about that. But the reality is we're supposed to have these perimeters. If you go put a house in a forest, you should build a perimeter around it. The fire doesn't get to that area. And those are clearance things that are supposed to happen in June and July, right before the fire season hits. And if we don't do that, then it becomes urgent when the fire does come. Same thing happens with how we deal with forestry. If we don't let a lightning fire hit somewhere up in Kernville and burn 300 acres naturally and just watch it and put it out, then we deal with this giant raging forest fire because now we've let the brush grow up this high underneath the trees, where in the old days a lightning strike just would have hit it and would have went on fire and would have went out. But now we've got huge devastation. Whole towns in California are gone because it was urgent, immediate, 911, not let's prevent it. And that's what fire guys do when they come out and teach in classrooms. They're all about prevention. Don't play with matches. It's a little late once a little kid starts a fire to say don't play with fire, right? Don't play with matches. So prevention's huge when your priorities are there. Just don't always deal with the urgent. The hard things first. When you do this, that's usually when you start getting some traction in your life, okay? So one of the good examples for this is exercise. If you have an exercise goal and plan, the best time to do that's in the morning, right when you get up. Why do you think that is?
Get it out the way so you don't procrastinate.
That's right. That's it, man. The hard things first. You just get it out the way. Because it's so easy the rest of the day to do all these different things so you don't have to deal with it. And it's just easy to make that happen. It's easy just to go, I got to run over here and do this errand. I really need to see my friend. She's going through some stuff. Right? And you can even make up your own excuses why you don't go do whatever you do to exercise. But if you can nail that first thing in the morning, then you're done. Or if you are education or whatever thing you're working on, you focus on those things first. Saving. When you get your check, you should be thinking about paying yourself first, right? And paying me means I save or I put my money where it's going to make me money in the future. Or I do something with my money that's going to add value to my life later on. Because you're not always going to be under 24. You know, you're going to be older and have different financial needs. So when you pay yourself now, that means you're not getting paid to go buy something today, but you're saving money today so that you have more later. That's why I'm so impressed with the EYF stuff that you guys do. You know, we just gave, last month, a $6,600 check to someone because they paid themselves. Every time they put that money in the EYF, they were paying themselves rather than paying the McDonald's guy or paying, you know, a cable bill or they paid themselves. And then at the end of the program, that check was right there. And that's super exciting for me because that's showing someone that has some priorities and thinks about it. Now, everybody's got different budget needs. That means that you don't have to pay yourself everything, but you pay yourself, give yourself something that's going to set you up for the future. So do the hard things first. And I think savings, man, I know everybody I know that deals with saving money because we all want to spend it. There's things we like. Commercials are always about us to get the next new thing, best thing, whatever thing, and you know, it's always coming your way. But if you can save, you know, you're setting up for your future. And then the last one there is the first things first. And this is really what I wanted to kind of end today and let you think about it because, you know, these classes aren't just to tell you, again, I'm not telling you what to do. This is stuff that works in my life. This is stuff I work with everybody in my family on. It's just, you've got to think about what you want. And then you've got to go get it. Nobody's going to get it for you. Nobody's going to give it to you. Nobody's going to make it happen. You've got to go make it happen. And that means you have to think about the life you want to have. The mind you want to have, the body you want to have, the spirit you want to have, the life you want to have, the car you want to have, the house you want to have, the relationships you want to have. And then you got to start making hard choices daily that are going to get you the things you want. So let's say you want someone who loves you for you, respects you for you, treats you right, and is a good friend. And that's the relationship you want to have with your mate. If those things aren't happening right now in your relationship, you need to get rid of that person. Or talk to them about real life change. Because you're a human being, you deserve love, you deserve good things in your life. Not some chump or chumpette just dragging you down and telling you you're not. So you've got to make those tough decisions, just like you have to do with your money. If the stack of money's right here, you have to make tough decisions with what am I going to do with each one of these bills? And how am I going to take care of this that's going to shape my life for the future? So when you think about where you want to go, who you want to be, what kind of friends you want to have, what kind of car, like I said, what kind of home, what kind of life do you want to have week to week? What do you want to be doing on Saturdays and Sundays? Do you like to travel? Do you like sports? Is there a hobby? You know, what is it that you want? And start to chase that, man, because you guys you're right there in the middle of it, and you have all the opportunity in the world in front of you, and don't let people tell you you don't, because you can change anything. You can change anything. It takes 30 days to change a bad habit. It takes 30 days to put in a good habit. But you can change that now. But you got to ask yourself those questions. I can lead a guided discussion, but I can't tell you what you want, what you want, what you want, what you want. You have to think about what are my A, B, C bucket things. A bucket is stuff that I have to have. I need this. C bucket's like, if this goes away, it ain't a big deal, right? A good example of C bucket stuff is when people, right around this time of year, Thanksgiving hits, Christmas hits, people start eating a bunch, it's get cold, we stack up the weight to get through winter, and then January 1 comes and everyone wants to make a resolution. And I'm going to get in shape. Gym memberships go through the roof. Nobody goes to the gym. By February, nobody's going to the gym at all. It's like a ghost town. But everybody's buying gym memberships. Or the crazy things on TV. You know, the exercise bike where you shake your hand. Go to people's garages. They're full of exercise crap. Because they thought they wanted to do it, but they really didn't want to do it. They wanted to look like the lady on TV, right? And they never put fat people on TV. Like running those machines. They're always some like little person that's got like zero body fat. Like they give her peanuts before the commercial, right? She's up there exercising. Like this ain't even real. But people watch it and they go, Oh, you can look like this for 2 payments of $39.95. They're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna look like that in a week. They get on that thing once and like, this is stupid. Out it goes in the garage. Right? You could drive down Oil and look on those little shops on it. There's exercise equipment, just bikes and shake weights and all sorts of crazy stuff. Why? Because we think that that's an A-bucket deal, but it's really not. Now you could get up every day and do push-ups and sit-ups. That's a priority. You don't have to buy nothing for that. You could jog in place, do jumping jacks, whatever. But you got to think about what those priorities are and go chase them. If it's work, there is work out there. If it's increasing your knowledge, it's out there. Relationships, those people are out there. So look at these steps down at the bottom. Think about your life now and the life you want. Think 10 years out. What do you want that to look like? My life's totally different 10 years from now. Write it down. And that's what becomes your priorities. Then the next one, think about your daily activities, what you're doing right now. And then once you line those up and you start putting them on a piece of paper and go, okay, this is what I do right now, you pretty quickly can see what is helping you go towards that goal or what's not helping you go towards the goal. And then you start thinking about, okay, what do I need to cut out? Cut out the stuff that you think is important that's not moving you forward. They did a study in America and they're finding out that people now are spending, on average, 30 minutes to 3 hours on their phone on social media. Okay, what could you do with 30 minutes to 3 hours a day if you focus something? Man, you could probably learn how to play the guitar, learn another language. You could do a bunch of stuff, right? You could do just about anything, become an expert in 10 years. They say it takes you 10,000 hours to become an expert in anything. So if in 10 years you did an hour a day, you'd be a double expert on anything in the world. But we don't. We're spending time doing things, not investing time on being the best you. Then run a test week. Change your stuff up. Say, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Boom. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to walk in the morning. I'm going to not get that cheeseburger on the way home. I'm going to go buy some food. And I'm going to learn how to make a meal. I'm going to get on the website and figure out how to make this dish on my own. And I'm going to try this for a week. Just those little life changes. I'm going to sock away this amount of money in the month. And then I'm going to reward myself with a trip to Universal Studios and then the month. Whatever you're going to do, but test it out and then make some changes. Adapt to it. And then the last one there, put in your life those important steps that are going to help you out. Get there. You know how you get a college degree? You take a class at a time. And that sounds stupid, but that's how you do it. And I'm not telling you all to go to college. I'm saying if that's your life goal, then take a class today. If your life goal is to achieve financial success, figure out what you can do. Are you good with your hands? Go have a mechanic intern you. Are you good with your brain? Are you good at sales? Man, we could hook you up with a lot of different positions in this community, but not if your priorities are jacked. Because here's the thing that will happen. This has happened here before. I had a guy, just like one of you sitting here, he goes, man, here's what I want to do. I always want to do this and work for this kind of company. So I said, fine. Called a friend and said, I got this guy who wants to work. Is he a good worker? Yeah, man. He said he's going to show up every day. Guy showed up every day, all right. And then about 3 weeks into it, he got high, driving a work truck, and crashed it. Okay, so that friend of mine that would have given everybody in this room jobs for the next 15 to 20 years now will never work with us again because of this guy. So those are the kind of things. And that guy, all he had to do was go to work and stay sober. And he probably would be a manager by now. This was like 6 years ago at this company. But his one little priority where he chose to get joy for a moment, his joy, and meet his need, whatever it was, for a moment, cost him and then cost all of us. And this guy still has a great company. So what you do every day matters. And it matters to you. I want you to succeed, man. I don't care if you want to, if you came and said, hey, man, I want to raise poodles. Good. Be the best poodle raiser on the planet. I don't care. I just want you to have a great life and feel good about yourself and keep moving forward. Sound good? So the backside of this has typical priorities and life goal domain areas. Please take this home and just at least think about it. Again, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want you to waste mine, but these are important things. This is stuff I do, like I said, with my family and my friends when we're trying to think about how we want to help each other out and be better people. This is the kind of stuff that matters. I just had somebody in our group ask me the other day a question about their faith, and it was like, this person's older than me, but that's what you're doing. You're trying to get better every day. And she had a priority to have her life set up a certain way, and there's some things going on in a relationship, and she's like, what do I do here? And I said, well, you go with your priority. And her priority was to be this kind of person. So she had to go have a very rough conversation with a friend because it was important for her to keep this person as a friend but not be fake and phony. So these are real deals, and they're big, big things, man. Self-care is huge. Sleep is it's funny. I busted you yawning right when I said sleep. But sleep's funny. I mean, it really is a very important goal. In the Army and Special Forces, they teach you sleep's a weapon. Because if you're tired, you can't function. And actually, they've done studies where drivers that are tired are sometimes worse than drunk drivers. Because drunk drivers are at least trying, right? They're like trying to get home. The sleeping person just is out, right? And they're gone. So I'm not telling you to drink and drive, but I'm definitely telling you don't sleep and drive, right? Don't do either one. But sleep is real. So all these goals are real. That's in the area of self-care. You know, the real goals, real things you should be focusing on. And some of them, guys, you know what? They're short-term. Addiction and sobriety is probably long-term, but some are short-term. Short-term goals, once you get in shape, then it's maintaining your shape. Once you start learning how to budget, it's just following that budget and saving. Once you get in school, it's just following the school plan. Once you get a job, it's doing things like showing up and working. Okay? So priorities. Chase your dreams, write them down, make it a priority to be the best you can be. And if there's any way we can help here, by all means. If anybody needs work experience, a job, come see me. You know, Covenant Coffee, I know you guys know everything we do there, but service restaurants around town, sales, customer service, roasting, packaging, production, all the way to the cafe and food stuff. So if you need work, let us know. There's all sorts of things we're trying to do. If you have good ideas and want to start a business, talk to me. I've launched probably 20 businesses. So more than willing to sit with you anytime to help you fulfill your life dreams and goals. Sound good? Well, thank you for your attention and time today, and have a wonderful, blessed Thanksgiving. Do you have any questions or comments, concerns? All right. Thank you so much. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Randy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.